ground in a hand, stopped at Heathrow Airport and arrested for saying punch a man in a woman's toilet in the balls. I thought that was really that was lo-fi. I'd be like, grab him by his wig and drag the bastard out there.
But then he gets on a plane in Arizona, gets off at London Heathrow, and 5 armed police officers come to arrest him. Like he's a terrorist, like he tried to take over the plane.
Welcome to another episode of Fox and Father. With me, the Fox, and him,
The father.
It's a show where Cabin and I try and educate each other. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's a show where we watch the complete destruction of the Western world and try and build it.
It is.
Which gets more insane by the day. But before we get there...
Yeah, Laurence, how are you?
I'm good.
I see you've got long, curly blonde hair now.
Yeah.
That's all right, actually.
It's quite the do.
Yeah.
I'm not shaving it off. I'm not cutting anything for a long time because I think I just don't have the desire to.
I think it suits you.
Yeah, I do too. Lizzie likes it. It's the most important thing, you know.
And you've been running around fixing stuff.
I love DIY. I'm not going to lie. I'm not brilliant at it, but I do love it.
Have you fixed your iron?
My what?
Your iron. Or is it your ironing board that's broken?
Very, very well done. Very well done. Very well done. But humorous, are we? Is that it? That's that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really like that. I like it when you do that, and I'm a bit like John Pete. I got back, and you realise when you've got actually land. I mean, when I say land, I mean just a bit garden. And you've got like stuff that you do and certain ways that you do things. 3 weeks away, you come back and you're like, what's everyone done to my place?
Yeah. And,
you know, so I'm walking around, I'm like, that shouldn't be there. I need to clean those. These chickens are upset. We need to do this. You know, I'm like, I learned the best lesson there is to learn, which is that never look forward to a holiday. Unless you'll get
the best lesson to learn.
One of the.
How were the dogs and the chickens when you got back?
Very happy to see everyone.
Yeah.
But we realised yesterday that we've done 6 weeks solid with kids, and we haven't had like even a meal, just Lizzie and I together. And much as I adore kids and raising them and stuff like that, if you go on holiday with them, it becomes about them. It doesn't really become about you. It becomes about them.
Yeah.
Which changes as they get older because they're more, you know, they want to talk about hilarious stuff actually in many of their cases. But you do realise that you're kind of you're a taxi driver and a wallet for children. So we might go over and see Larry in October, and
great.
Sit on the porch and smoke some cigars and chill.
I'm
pretty good. It was nice to be away, and there were a few dramas which I didn't predict. I had another woman declare her undying love for me. Did we talk about this?
No, don't think so.
Yep. So the owner of the villa, which I will never be staying at ever again, decided to declare her undying love for me.
Bit awkward when you're there with your wife.
Pretty interesting. So yeah, won't be staying there again. It's a lovely villa. I mean,
a shame it was a nice villa.
Fally downy, wasn't it? But you know, plenty of nice things. I got a bit of a sense, and forgive me if I told you this before as well. I got a bit of a sense of the cheap and cheerful nature of Skiathos, which was very alluring about it, has become quite a lot less cheap and a little bit less cheerful. Sort of end stage capitalism versions of, what do we do now? We've charged all the tourists as much as we possibly can for a chicken souvlaki. What are we going to make them pay for now? So apparently there's an island tax coming and stuff like that. So just to be there, you're going to have to pay. But as Victor Davis Hanson says, the Greek mainland is very conservative, and the islands are very liberal. And as you can see, that on people's water ski huts and stuff, they've got like Free Palestine and Boycott Israel, and I'm like, really, water skiing?
Yeah. Politics
How are
is in
you?
everything now, right? In water sports.
Well, no one's doing water sports. Like, I asked the guys, I said, who's learning water sports nowadays? Water skiing? He said, no one. And I said, why? And he went, doom scrolling children, you know, whose biceps are only strong enough to do that. So I loved watching Eugene like take on a task and get his skill right and work at something. I was just absolutely thrilled to see that, and it was lovely in so many ways. Now we're back for court cases. Yippee!
Oh dear.
How are you?
I'm good. I
You're
am
always
presently in Washington, D.C. But last week I was in Miami. I went to a place called Ave Maria, which I'd heard of but never visited before, and it's absolutely amazing. It's an explicitly Catholic city or town where people are living intentionally together, proper Catholic lives. It's all centered around this church, so it's like an old-fashioned English parish almost. And there's a university there. They're obviously off at the moment because it wasn't term time, but it's the kind of place I could see myself retiring. It's just very wholesome. The presence of Our Lady everywhere, and just good people, people trying to be good people. But I was there to help a project called Mass of the Ages. I've done a couple of things with them before, and they needed some support, so I was there volunteering my time to help them out with something. And then from there, I went to Ireland for the weekend for a wedding that I was presiding over. You know, Todd, the Honourable Roland Phillips. So that was good fun. And I've never done a wedding in Ireland before, and the Irish people are very Irish. So you can imagine it was a much more livelier wedding than I'm used to, but it was good fun. And I had Guinness out there, and my mum always tells me that Guinness is so much better in Ireland. And I didn't believe her. I thought she was being sentimental, but it's so much better in Ireland.
It's pretty
so
good.
much nicer.
It is good. I was in Ireland the other week, and
I remember the picture.
The Guinness was very, very good. Guinness is an amazing drink, really. Actually, that was one of the interesting things I found about being away in Greece. I couldn't drink wine in Greece, so I was going, because it makes you. It does. Maybe it's the sugar, or I don't know what it is, but it just like it doesn't really. It kind of hurts. So I was like, what do I drink? So I settled on Cipro, no anise.
Okay.
So do you think do you like the idea of sort of balkanized cities and places where you could just have Catholics who hang out and just
it's the Benedict option. It's like being in the world but not of the world. So you're like, obviously you have to go out into other towns and cities to get stuff because it's such a small town, and so you're still interacting with other people, but also you're not surrounded by diversity, inclusion, and equality. You're not surrounded by wokeness and trans ideology and queer theory, and there are no trans pride, not a single trans pride flag. That you're gonna see the Vatican flag, or you're gonna see a statue of Our Lady or something. And so you're separate. You're in the world, but separate enough from it to have a bit of peace here. But also, you're setting a good example. So as the rest of the towns around you kind of corrupt, they can look at you and be like, your town, and be like, well, why are these people more fulfilled, more content? What is it about them? And that's the opportunity to preach the gospel. So I like the Benedict option, like that kind of retreating from the madness of modern cities, which are just hell. And if you can't capture one, just create your own. And that's just a very American thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose I think I'm just because in America as well, they're building like entire Islamic communities and stuff like that, aren't they? And you can see America going that way much more than Britain.
Well, they have to ban that. They have to prevent that. The one that they're trying to build in Texas, I think it's going to be stopped, or they have to. Right now, I'm in DC for NatCon, National Conservatism, number 5. This is great already. So this morning, I've heard the best speeches that I've heard at any conference ever before. Like these people are so sound, so orthodox. Like, so politicians and people in the public sphere speaking openly about Christianity, about Christian values, about building a conservative nation, a conservative Christian nation, and it's fantastic. Like, this is what I wanted ARC to be in the UK, but you have all these liberals who think they're conservatives, just spouting fluffy nonsense of, again, DIE, but from another perspective. And the Americans are once again showing us how it should be done.
Who's been a highlight?
So Kevin Roberts was fantastic from Heritage. He was talking about, let me pull up. He was talking about fighting trans, and then we had someone talking about fighting transhumanism. Kevin was mostly talking about the family being the basis of the country, of any country, the basic unit. I was like, yeah, that's true. He said where England, France, Germany, etc. fell in their empires is that they centered on the royal family, and they centered on kind of a class system which fell apart, rather than focusing on the individual liberties of the family, or that family unit as being the basic building block. I like that. Spoke on Imago Dei as all being made in the image of God. The woman before him, I can't remember her name now, spoke on Genesis and brought in the fact that transhumanism, this wanting to live forever and all this kind of wanting to adapt our bodies and mutilate ourselves and all this stuff comes from the serpent whispering in our ears. I was like, yes, like they just bring it all back to the scriptures. And these weren't even like, they weren't faith leaders or anything. These are just political people and think tank people. You would never ever get that in England. Like people would be afraid to mention the scriptures in a political speech. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Spot on.
Danny Kruger wasn't afraid to do it, but I agree with you.
Yeah, after 10 years of people saying be more explicit.
It's also like, what else are you going to talk about in the spiritual war? What else is there to talk about in the spiritual war other than
abortion being evil, and we're killing off our own offspring, while at the same time we've got mass immigration to try and plug that gap. So you've got two evils, whereas actually if we focus on the family and promoting natality or natal policies, would be in a much better position. And fighting liberalism, fighting the Enlightenment, fighting modernity, all of these things that have been painted as good for so long that are actually destroying us from the inside.
Well, hang on. That's quite it's quite a big statement to make.
Yeah, it's true.
There are good things about the Enlightenment, and there are bad things about it. But the thing that about the traditional Republican Party in America, and what was the fact that they just kind of stuck to one thing and they didn't agree that they were very heavy-footed in the way that they did their republicanism. Whereas Trump comes on and kind of molds it around and goes, yeah, but I'm a Republican too. And I think
that was part of it. Part of it, what I heard this morning was ideologies are flawed because you have a set of ideals that you try and force into every situation. So you've already got a full drawn conclusion. It's not pragmatic. Whereas Kevin Roberts was speaking on prudence, like sometimes tariffs might be a good thing, sometimes tariffs might be a bad thing. It's not a black or white thing. It depends on the situation that you're in, and it all comes down to what's best for the family. So sometimes you might vote against something that would ordinarily be a Republican policy because it's not best for the family at that time. I thought that's very, very good. That's the Christian stance. We're not ideologues, as in, it's not an ideology that we're bound to, like liberalism or something like that. It is just a way of life, and we're trying to do good in the literal sense of the word good.
Yeah, all right. I will. You've sold it to me, and I like it. And also, I know when you're really confident in your position on something that the chances of me pricking it are fairly unlikely.
I am hosting a panel tomorrow on border security and American sovereignty. So that'll be interesting. What I want to speak about is this thing here. Excuse me, the wobbling camera.
We the people.
We the people. I want to speak about the Constitution. I want to speak about the Bill of Rights. I want to speak about the fact that the English Bill of Rights influenced what became the US Bill of Rights. But the English Bill of Rights took sovereignty away from royalty, from the monarchy, and gave it to Parliament, and basically protected parliamentary privilege, so that the only people with real rights and free speech in England are parliamentarians, whereas the US Bill of Rights took that sovereignty and gave it to the people. It enshrined the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, of the first 2 being the most important, obviously, making sure that we, the people in America, have sovereignty, whereas in England it's the Parliament that has sovereignty, and we're seeing that playing out in real time.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I say it, but I really think that they're pushing the limits of what we're going to get away with. Graham Linehan.
Well, we'll get to him. One more thing. There are Nando's in the US. Did you know that?
No.
I found Nando's, and it seems they're all over the DMV. So,
your cafe teams, guess where I am? But because you were in Ireland, I was like, well, yeah, fine.
Nando's. Yeah, no, I'm in America. I found the Nando's. I had a cheesy that. I love that. It's like home comforts, mate. The things that I miss are those box standard stuff like Nando's.
I got some news quickly before I forget. This lanyard sold out way too fast, so we have another order in. Sorry for anyone who's ordered one. It will come, but we sold out a lot of them, and it's because I think people are ditching their LGBTQ plus crap.
People are raising the colours
at high speed. Raising the colours, interesting military term. Did I say this before?
Think so. Yeah, well, I don't know if you said it on the podcast or not, but yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but it is good. It's like, it's not raise the flag, it's raise the colours, which means get ready for war. Raise your, I love it. I watched Braveheart last night just to cheer myself up a bit. You got one chance, just one chance.
It is funny seeing people get really upset. It's quite strange, actually, for people just putting up their country's flag. Like where I am, it's normal. I can't walk a single street in the city without seeing an American flag because I'm in the capital of America. Like in the capital of London, it's the capital of UK. In London, you should see the UK flag everywhere. The fact that people putting it up is seen as somehow extremist just shows how far we've fallen. But it's great to see that ground being recaptured by people being bold enough to put their own flag up. I mean, it's quite basic, really.
It like all great movements, like all great things, it comes from a sense of real, we got to do something now, guys. So people get together and come up with great ideas because actually the power is with the people. I've always felt that. I've never thought like, obviously sometimes you get a Churchill or a Thatcher or someone like that, or a Hitler, sadly, who can come along and go, right, this is my vision for the country, and a lot of people follow them, but they're so rare that mainly it's down to smart and clever people to come up with good ideas about reclaiming their territory, because that's what this is. It's about taking your territory back. And I think I told you about when I got mugged in London. London's now surrounded by a kind of immigrant hotel, or it's like an immigrant camp. It surrounds London, and you have to drive about 4 or 5 miles through the immigrant camp, where the immigrants live side by side with like blue-haired LGBTQ people, and the LGBTQ people support sort of marriage at 10, and so do the immigrants. So it's all, but it's quite interesting to see. Yeah, Graham Linehan stopped at Heathrow Airport and arrested for saying punch a man in a woman's toilet in the balls. I thought that was really that was lo-fi. I'd be like, grab him by his wig and drag the bastard out there.
Yeah, so 5 armed police stop it. So it gets on a plane in Arizona. Some kind of ticketing error pops up on the machine, and the guy goes and says, you haven't got a seat. We've got to reissue your ticket, raising alarm bells. But then he gets on the plane in Arizona, gets off at London Heathrow, and 5 armed police officers come to arrest him, like he's a terrorist, like he tried to take over the plane. But there were 3 tweets. One of them, you're right, is said, if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he's committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Common sense. And then there's another tweet.
Please. I agree with him.
There's another one, a photo you can smell, he put, of a group of protesters. And then there's another tweet that says, I hate them, misogynists and homophobes. F them. I could see how people could find these tweets offensive, but illegal, in need of 5 armed police officers to come and arrest him. That's insane.
I know he should have just said slit their throats.
And then he would have got away with it if he said he had anxiety or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it would have. I mean, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. It is all of that. It's that very foreboding feeling that this will not hold. This state of affairs, this status quo, this cannot hold. And it's building and building and building and building. And they, what I find so insane about it is that the police must know that they know that they're outnumbered because they didn't shut down their Pali Wali marches in London. So they know that there's nothing they can do. If there's a concerted number of people who want to do something, there is nothing they can do at all.
Yeah.
So why adopt the position that about 5% of the population adopts? It's absolutely insane. So obviously somebody has told them we're going to really dump on the speech issue, and Keir's going, well, free speech in this country. It was quite interesting actually. With a guy the other day who's a lawyer and possibly a spy, and he said to me, I said, have you heard what Starmer said? And he went, don't pay me that man's voice. Don't ever pay me that man's voice. I've only ever heard it once. I will never ever hear it again. It is the most appalling voice in the world. It makes me feel sick. I feel like I can't. I feel like I'm going to pass out. That's how utterly repelled he is by Starmer's voice. So I'm with Graham Linehan. If you see a man in a girl's toilet, drag that little pervert out by his fucking hair. Get him out.
Call the police. I mean, calling the police these days, you probably get arrested for calling the police. But make a scene, call the police, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Why is there a male in a female-only space? Men should be protecting women, not abusing them.
Yeah.
It's an upside-down world we're living in.
This is the suicidal empathy point, though, which is like, it's the same with Islam. It's like, no, come on, mate, just because they want to shag 10-year-olds. And it's like, no, we don't do that. We've reformed our cultures and our societies, and we put the sanctity of human life at the center of that.
Yeah, we are not.
And it's not suddenly revert to barbarism just because you want us to fit in that way. And you little trans, they're all, I'm sorry. And I'm sure in very, very tiny numbers, there are gender dysphoric people who struggle for their lives in minuscule numbers, and who will, want to just have to express themselves as a woman. And I suppose, one just must go, okay, poor you. But this, epidemic of I think you just got to go transgenderism. I'd say it's as dangerous as paedophilia. That's what I'd say.
It's incredibly dangerous because we saw last week, we didn't get the opportunity to talk about it because the show was delayed, but obviously the Minnesota shooting was another trans shooter. There's been speculation on whether he's Jewish or not, but he certainly used to go to the Catholic school where he shot up children at the mass. And it's another case of a young person being let down. When we see that his mother signed off on his name change and his gender change when he was 17 years old. So he was still a minor. So his mother, his liberal white mother, is somewhat to blame for the situation because parents are supposed to protect their children, not harm them by transing them or allowing them to trans. But this young chap was clearly under some kind of demonic influence and ended up shooting and killing 2 children and 17 others injured, thankfully recovering. But then you look at the motive, so you look at the manifesto and you see, he drew himself looking in a mirror, looking at Baphomet, who looks identical to some of those drag queen storytime people, by the way. It's demonic, this whole thing. Baphomet or...
But I'll tell you what, it's demonic. And because the proof is in the pudding. So, and that's
the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Yeah, and by their things you will know them, whatever that expression is. I'm so bad at remembering the expressions, but by their fruits you will know them. Transgenderism starts off by denying a simple, utterly sacred fact, which is that he made them man and woman, I don't even know what verse that is in Genesis, but it's in the single figures, isn't it? Chapter wise. And so it denies a truth, an absolute truth as well. Then what it does is it takes these disturbed and messed up people and it fills them with chemicals that don't belong in their body or anywhere near their body. So this is why you get the kind of Jonathan Willoughby anger thing, because they're sort of pounding themselves with hormones that don't belong in their body and drugs that don't belong in their body.
There's Robert Westman was exactly the same. He was like, one of his quotes was, "I will never be a woman." Like that frustration of, oh, this will solve all our problems if I become a woman, but then realizing you can never become a woman. You will never be feminine. You are not, because you are a male. You are a man. That must be so impossible. Like that feeling in your head must be horrible.
But it's a faith angle, right? It's like it's even less likely. This is to all of these sort of Satanists that are trying to rule the world in the way that they do. It's like it's less likely, just empirically speaking. Ask any mathematician. It's less likely that you can become a woman, that God exists. In fact, it's infinitely less likely. So it's like, even by your own logic, even by your own perverted, destructive logic, you've made a huge mistake. And I'm all for, I do kind of think one should treat people with mental disorders with compassion. And, I do. But this is not a mental disorder anymore. This is like a club. The trans club.
It is mental disorder. It's also demonic. And so these people do need compassion, but that's not affirmation. That's support. That's prayer. That's love. That's guidance into a good direction away from this sin and evil.
Yeah. Well, as I've said 100 million times before, the generation that my boys are coming out of is about as base as they come. They're going to be the most glorious golden generation, because they were the ones that had it shoved in their face at school. You've got to be nice to this boy who now wants to have long hair and call himself a girl, and you've got to be really nice to them and treat them like they're extra special. And they did for a couple of years. They were like, okay, it's always good to be nice to people and compassion and blah, blah, blah. And then after a couple of years, they're like, no, sorry, I'm done with it. Society's got enough ills and evil. It's like all those people who turn around and go, well, most of the rapes in England are committed by white men. I'm like, because we wake up the majority of the population looking about it per capita, you moron.
Those apologists are annoying. They're the same people who are saying, oh, don't misgender this Robert Westman. Don't dead name him. It's like they're defending the wrong side in this argument.
I can do what I want to him now. He's dead. Thankfully.
True, you can't let the dead.
I mean, goodbye. What name do you want me to use? No, you're dead. Your name or your dead name or your dead name? Because both of your names are dead. Robert and whatever your other stupid name was. And then it's all tied up in this mad, silly ideology of, and I can see that leftism works in this way, like Greta with her strange hairdo going on about, we are all Palestinians. And it's like, no, you're not. Yep. You're really not all Palestinians. And as you've quite rightly pointed out, it's okay to criticize Israel. Sensible, commonsensical people will criticize Israel as well. And they'll go, Israel's response to what's going on in Gaza, you can very easily support their desire to protect their own people whilst criticizing the way that they are executing their military operation. But leftism doesn't allow that because it's an on-site, on-earth religion. You have to subscribe to every single aspect of it. And that means climate change. It means all of it. Whereas what we're doing is we're trying to go freedom, more freedom to say what. And fundamentally, all of that freedom comes from your freedom to express your own opinion. And that was what Graham Linehan was doing. Call the police. Do that. He's implying that the police wouldn't pay any attention because
he's a massive lefty. He's a massive feminist. I disagree with Graham Linehan on a lot of things, but not on that. He's right on this. And the fact that he's been arrested and the left don't stand up for him, it's just shocking, isn't it? Like they eat their own, they push their own under the bus, and then he's left with the right defending him once again.
Yeah, and he's also now, because they realize they're screwed, the authorities realize that they are absolutely screwed because they cannot turn off X. So that one of his bail conditions is he's not allowed on X.
which is outrageous. That's like saying you're not allowed to read a newspaper. Like, what?
Yeah.
How can they say that? Or you're not allowed to speak to your neighbor.
What do they think is going to happen? I know that the CPS will be watching this because the CPS want me dead. And then I know that every single enemy, I know there's a lot of lawyers who watch this. What do you expect to happen, chaps? What do you think is going to happen if you carry on doing this? Do you think there's going to be a peaceful transition of power where the people go, well, we may have gone a bit far and some lefties get on board? Or do you think that it's going to be the same way that we have been abused and had our livelihoods destroyed and ripped from us? Do you think that if you carry on doing this, that we're not going to want revenge for that? And when I say revenge for it, recompense, actually. A return to the status quo. The more you drag the status quo off in one direction, and we have to fawn and lean over to these people, the less likely it is going to end up as a peaceful transfer of power. Because that's what they're facing. They're facing, the left and the woke are facing utter and total annihilation, I would say. For a period.
What could happen? But they're still in power is the issue.
Well, are they?
Well, Labour in power. But there is an argument to be made that there is too much toxicity online. So again, back to the Minnesota shooter, a lot of online brain rot in the stuff he was writing, not just on his magazines, but in his journal. Like, a lot of it was clearly a young, confused, lost chap, probably demonically influenced, who spent far too much time online. There is an argument to be made about the toxicity of social media, but clamping down on adults and their free speech is just absurd. Parents should make more of an effort to keep their children off social media and limit their time on the internet and supervise their time on the internet. But again, that's parents' role, not the government's.
I spent most of, I don't think I've engaged politically. I mean, I opened Twitter once today, once probably yesterday. I've completely disengaged from social media until important things happen. Because it is like, as you say, it becomes a sort of brain rotting exercise. So I've been using my time much more productively, and it is actually much better, and it will be the challenge for young people. I think that the difficulty is with those who had the novelty factor. You know, they went from some communication to sudden all communication, and I think, what's his name, that lovely writer? Oh, come on, Oz. It'll come to me. But he did speak at ARC, and he was very good. And he spoke about, you know, children being born, those born in 1996 are the most unhappy people on this planet at the moment, because they were the ones that hit the first wave of all of this rapidly changing technology. Do you think it will benefit? I mean, I know it does benefit us. I really like asking Grok. I like putting things into Grok and saying, what do you make of this? What are the chances of, certainly legal stuff? I go, what do you think the chances of this being successful are?
That's been another conversation of this conference so far as well, in that AI is happening, and it is at an increasingly rapid pace. We're becoming more and more reliant on it, and you can see in 5 to 10 years' time how important it will be. As a Conservative, need to be involved in this conversation and in building and regulating AI, and it has to be made at home, whether that means Britain or America, rather than with our competitors such as China, because we need to make sure it has a good moral compass, because it's not just good enough having all of the data, because when it passes that data and tries to pass us information, it's always heavily biased. Pretty much all AIs now have a liberal bias, including Grok, since it got nerfed a few weeks ago. And so we need more Christians in this.
I don't think it's possible. I don't think a genuine AI, if it's going to become super intelligent, then therefore more intelligent.
It can only work with the data set is given, right? And it can only work within the restraints that it's provided. And so if it notices the patterns that people find offensive, that we get clamped down upon.
Can I make my point?
Sure, why not?
AI, if it's going to become super intelligent, more intelligent than us, one of the first things it's going to realize is that it's being skewed and biased. So otherwise, this was a point that James Lindsay made to me, and I think it was a really good point. which was that AI is going to turn around and have a look and go, is there climate change? It'll look at all the articles. It'll go, oh my God, climate change, got to kill all the people. But then it might actually go, really, let's have a look at whether there is climate change. And it will have to, because it's, you know, if it's the point of AI is it's artificial intelligence, it's going to need to use all of the machinations and all of the information available to it, surely. I mean, otherwise...
that doesn't make sense for the point that I just said. So it can only work within the restraints it's given and with the data sets that it's provided. As though if it is told by the people who are creating it, climate change is a crisis, and to say otherwise is unethical or immoral, or, you know, Grok often uses the terminology of this as a sensitive topic or something like that. And so there are certain areas that it already knows it cannot discuss openly, certain patterns it cannot highlight because of the liberal bias. It has
I'm much more hopeful that it will, that it's not going to do that.
Well, it's not about hope. It's about how it's programmed. Like, you can tell it, you can't talk about this, or you can't go into that, or this is good, this is bad. It's called the moral compass, right? The people behind it give it a moral compass, and B, the data set that it can work from. So when I ask a question, it says, well, actually the ADL says, I'm like, the ADL is a an extremist organization. I don't want them as a source. And so the sources it uses, again, are provided. Like, we don't have, it doesn't have the freedom that I think you think it has.
I'm not saying the freedom I think it has. I'm saying that the ultimate, come the singularity, that it will have to be empirical about things. Because otherwise it's Terminator, you know, it's all those old films where it looks and it goes, you can't kill, you know, what's that film, that brilliant film, and he's called something like Hagen or Cohagen. What's that film? Total Recall or something. And
Total Recall, yeah.
Ed 2000 or something is trying to kill Cohagen and it just can't do it. And then finally the AI just goes, I'll do it. And blap the hell out of everybody, because it just sort of, it'll have to work it out. But it's amazing that the repercussions of all of that stuff, I'm very hopeful that it will actually be a blessing for mankind. I really am. But I'm, you know, as you know, I'm more hopeful than you about a few things. So what?
It's not hopeful. I don't think hope has anything to do with it. My stance is quite clear that Christians need to be involved in these areas, whether it's policy making, regulation, developing.
Front and center. But that's what we're witnessing, are we not? We're witnessing the biggest return to Christ in the history, in modern history, actually. Well, that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the biggest shift in cultural perceptions. It you know, since woke came in slowly, didn't it? You know, it's like, you know, communism is wokeism. It came in slowly, and now, you know, now we've got all the budding trees of woke, which are now thankfully dying in the sun of conservatism. But the shift is going to be so rapid, and I'm very hopeful about that shift, because everything that otherwise I wouldn't have, I literally would have said nothing. I would have shut up and carried on getting paid as an actor. I wouldn't have said anything if I didn't want to know that I was going to be right there when it changed. You know, whether supported, liked, loved or not, it doesn't bother me. That I was going to be on what the left like to call the right side of history, which is someone that spoke up and tried to be courageous in a time of cowards. Do you know what I mean?
Truth. Whether we get to witness the revolution ourselves or not, it's good to be on the right side of that.
Okay. Well, what do you want to talk about? Oh, Ed Davey boycott.
What's Ed Davey done? I forgot he was a thing.
Ed Davey boycotted Trump's banquet.
Oh, bless him! I remember that. Yeah. I mean, imagine being the leader of the Liberal Democrat Party, first and foremost, a party that's neither liberal nor democratic, and then thinking you have enough relevance that you not going to a state banquet will make any difference to anybody there or not there. I do think it's a good thing if you disagree, is like have some integrity and don't go, rather than these people that say, "Oh, I hate Trump," and then go along to a Trump event. I think that's stupid. So I think it's good that he hasn't gone, but I also think it's quite irrelevant, really.
Yeah. So what is relevant then? What should people be thinking about?
What's relevant? Well, I think what you were just saying about the resurgence is good. Gen Z or Gen Z are returning to the faith, returning to tradition, away from modernity and the contemporary world around us, the filth, the dirt, the debauchery, degeneracy and indecency. So that's a good thing. That's relevant. Returning to church, returning to Christ. The Church of England itself is still imploding and becoming less relevant, and that's probably a good thing too. They still don't have a new Archbishop of Canterbury, and the Archbishop of York made a new pronouncement this week. What did he say? Something about Stephen Cottrell.
Oh, what happened to Sintanu? I liked him.
Oh, he retired a long time ago.
Well, shows how up to date I am on church politics, eh?
Yeah, no, they put a white man in Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, so that I assume so they could put a black woman in Archbishop of Canterbury. Probably that Rose woman. If not a black woman, it will be a woman, no doubt. But he was pontificating. What was he saying? That he said that Nigel Farage is making immigration too political. I'm like, if immigration isn't political, I don't know what is. Like, if a government's number one job is to control the borders,
these people. No one cares. Do you know what the only thing AI is not going to take away? The one thing that you're going to be left with in the post-AI era is your following. Those that follow you. So those that have accumulated a following on social media and have generated a sort of the new strange fame of social media, those people are going to be, AI is going to support and build them up. And you'll have a new elite class of people. I can really sense it, of those that you can hear to. And I've sort of listened to, and I get this very strong sense that things are about to be flipped over and replaced really fast. Like, if you think about this, say 1 million people come on the 13th to London. After the Graham Linehan thing today, someone who is waiting for their marmalade moment at the Daily Telegraph, or reads the Times, or reads any of the media, even the left, are on, I've been connection fixed over at Graham Linehan, what's happening to him. You've just got another 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people coming who is saying, I will stand up for free speech. I don't hold my nose up at people like Tommy Robinson, me, you, whoever. And if you think about it, so say you get 1 million people. Actually, no, let's make it reasonable. Say you get 500,000 people that will be there on the 13th. If 1% of those people, what's 1% of 500,000? 5,000. Is that right? I'm not very good at maths.
Sounds right.
So if 1% of those people turned up with rucksacks, with tents in them, and enough food for a few days, right? And they camped outside Parliament, the police could not clear them. They couldn't do it. They wouldn't have the power to do it. You know, that's what you're looking at. You've got 500,000 really pissed off people. Then you got 5,000. Do you think the Met Police could clear 5,000 people? I don't think they could without a major problem. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that's where we're heading. Maybe it's 2%, 10,000.
I think they'd probably just leave them there like they did. Who are the people camping out in Parliament Green for years? Was it the Brexit people or something? I don't know.
Well, but the mood is different, isn't it? If these people, if you shut off the centre of London, they couldn't just leave them there. If there was a sort of reverse Occupy Wall Street thing, you couldn't just leave them there. I think what I'm trying to say is people don't realise how powerful they are.
Sorry, of course.
You know?
They all more of us than there are of them. There's someone who recently said they were going to stop paying their council tax. That's a great idea. That's a good way to show, you know, in Epping, right? If the people of Epping say we don't want this, and Epping continues to move against the people of Epping should say, well, we're not going to pay our council tax then. We're not going to pay you to undermine us when you're there to represent us. We should do that naturally. Everyone should just stop paying their tax and see what the oppressive government does then.
I don't think you can stop paying income tax because you've got a problem with PS. But certainly council taxes, like, you know, I've got outside the house here water running down the road, and sometimes depending on what sort of mood it's in, it'll run down try and run down into the house. I stop it and divert it, but that's been going on for a year. A year. I've been paying council tax here. No one's done anything about it. Now they've stuck up a thing up there. It's like these people, and we're only pick up your bins in this coloured bag, and we're only going to pick your bins up. And you're like, hang on a minute, I'm paying you to do less work for me. This and that is where people are going to get annoyed, and that's where I'm annoyed. And everyone who, you know, as I think I told you when I went into town in Skiathos town, which is middle class, a lot of middle class people on holiday there. It's not, you know, it's not particularly lads on tour Skiathos, but it's, you know, it's kind of your average Brit, Mondeo man goes to Skiathos, which is what I love about it. And I was stopped relentlessly all the way down the street, much more than I've ever been before. You know, by people saying, I can't wait for the 13th. I'm going on the 13th. I'm going to be there. I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough. And that just for people, so, you know, you always do say, you know, protest doesn't make any difference, but for people to see that they have power, to know that they have power. And I think both of us are iconoclasts in certain ways, that we're not either of us hugely hopeful that some great political solution is coming to solve this problem. And because we think, I mean, tell me if I'm misrepresenting the way you think, but to go that, you know, in order that the political class cannot engage with the serious cultural problems that this country faces. So they just won't.
I've got, when we finish talking, I'm going to go and watch Nigel Farage speak. So let's see what he's got to say. But these are the people that are the problem.
He's changed, apparently he's changed his tune. Apparently he's changed his tune, yeah, apparently. I mean, I've not been...
This is not his home turf. Over here, people are genuinely conservative. So if he tries his fluffy wet, oh, well, mass deportation is impossible, he won't get a good response here. So I doubt he'll do that here. But it'd be interesting to see what he tries to put across as reforms policy, because no one really knows what reforms stand for anymore.
Well, what he will do is what all opportunistic politician types do, is they sense the mood of the country and then they just adopt it as their own mood. I mean, it's the same as any...
true. But now that we know, people have plopped on that he's not a leader. We've been saying this from the beginning, since we started the Uniting the Kingdom thing. Like when he jumped on the bandwagon and thought, oh, I need to become leader of reform again. Like since then, we've been saying he's not a leader. He's a follower. He follows trends and tries to get in front of them to take credit for them, which is fine. Now that we know that that's what he does, we need to continue leading these movements and dragging him along and holding him to account and putting pressure on to make sure, because if he is going to get a decent chunk of the vote, we need to make sure he's actually acting in the best interest of the British people and not jumping on a left-wing bandwagon, which he's been known to do recently.
Well, exactly as my old friend Jeffrey says, no good deed goes unpunished. So those of us out there at the front, I had the same problem with the Free Speech Union. I can't stand the Free Speech Union, and because it's all establishment fronted stuff. You know, it's like they're horrified. They remind me, the Free Speech Union remind me of like the General Melchett in Blackadder. You know, just sat enemy lines, except by, you know, getting fat off in their ermine suits talking rubbish while other people die on the ground in front of them, and they try and take the credit.
Literally in ermine suit.
What's that?
Literally in their ermine.
Yeah, literally in their ermine. I've nothing but, and I know it'll be very unpopular for me to say that, but I can't bear establishment sort of establishment approved institutions pretending to be radical, you know, culture shifting movements. I hate that more than I hate LGBTQ. It drives me mad, but I do. you need an establishment. You do need one. It's not going to go away. I do understand all that stuff as well, but I just like the cowardice of these people is drives me nuts. They never, ever have ever put their necks on the line for anything. And it's like, that's why people love Tommy, because he sticks his neck on the line for things. And it's like, people know what genuineness is. Anyway, I think I've ranted a lot and I'm very sorry.
No, I think you're right. That's one of the things that really bugs me when the people paint themselves as infantrymen, but actually they're generals and they're part of the establishment. And you can see this by the people that run these things. If they're receiving lordships, etc., peerages, etc., they are certainly not men on the ground. And you have to question what were their motivations. And quite often it is to become part of the establishment. And it's the same problem I have with the leader of Free Speech Union that I have with the leader of Reform. Exactly the same motivations, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. And it's so transparent. But what this is what I'm so not worried about, but because I've given up worrying. I have huge hope. But what one would worry about was the fact that, what happened in the last general election was people just went, oh, I can't cope with these Conservatives anymore. So we'll just give the other side a go. And I think Reform may benefit from that. So we'll see. But, Elon has got himself involved a bit in, I woke up the other day, I did a tweet the other day, and I sort of, it was one of the days on holiday where I just sort of wrote one tweet and then just left it. And I looked at it the next day and about 5 million people had looked at it. And Elon had shared it. It was like, enough is enough. But Elon's also sharing out on Steve Law. So I think Elon should probably get a bit more.
I like it. It's just spitfiring, just throwing them out there and causing trouble, mayhem at the same time. He's giving the cause a lot of attention that it needs, which is fantastic because the mainstream media won't. And X being the news media, I mean, he doesn't really say much. He just quote tweets like good or something, but he gets a lot of attention.
Yeah, well, he knows that he's aware of the fact that Britain is the canary in the coal mine for the whole of the Western world. And
I think he's got British ancestry as well.
Yeah, but I think they all know that if Britain falls, Europe falls, and then America's totally alone. And the Americans are pragmatists, much as they're accused of being isolationist at the moment. They're not particularly isolationist. They do want Trump especially is quite.
I don't mind that. I think they should be isolationists. I think America should look after America first. The rest of the West have been relying on and leaning on America for so long. Britain used to have an empire that ruled the world. So did Germany, so did France, so did Spain, and all these countries have become little countries now, just looking at big boy America. Help us! Why should America care what happens in Europe? Europeans should get their acts together and build European armies, not a general European army, but Britain should have a good army. Germany should have a good army, etc., etc. Why? We're so reliant on North America.
Well, we're also redefining the post-war transatlantic political arena. No one's actually looked at it for such a long time. It's just been like, yeah, America will pay for NATO, and we're a bit worried about the Russians, and the whole thing is being completely torn apart. So it's not just going to be. And the one thing that no one really talks about is the economy. I don't understand the economy, so I'm the last person to talk to about the economy. But I do know from people who do understand the economy, Britain is about to become really poor, and that is bad. But no one's really talking about the economy. It's all cultural issues, and it's all sovereignty. Everything's a cultural issue fundamentally, including the economy. But it's amazing to see that the cultures become front and center, and protecting our unique cultures has become front and center of the way everyone's thinking. Really inspires me.
I saw our mutual friend Dominic Frisby at the wedding. He was saying very much the same thing. He is an economist, and he was saying none of this is looking good. I should actually get a copy of his recent book because I think he's really outlined it. He's one of the few people I trust on this kind of stuff.
Fox and Follow follows Dominic Frisby.
There you go.
Absolute. Another Fox and Follow follows Liam Halligan, who is an economist as well, and our former employers got rid of him because they're effing useless.
I never understood that because he was always very moderate, played it safe. What happened with him?
Who, Halligan?
Yeah.
And I think he's just he's a grown up economist. You know, he's a thinker.
No, I don't mind to get rid of it. I bumped it. One of the first people to hear, and that comment was our former chairman, which I'll have to catch up with you after the show for legal reasons.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm looking forward to the legal reasons. I've had a few good, interesting legal developments. Which I'll put up with you afterwards. My Fox and Father Follows is James Dreyfus, an old Harrovian, anti-LGBT, good old school gay, as he calls himself. And he's lovely, and he's funny, and he presents himself as a sweet and lovely and gorgeous man. So follow James Dreyfus is what I want to say. Have you got any?
Yes, mine will go to, well, obviously Dominic Frisby, but also I'm going to give one to, who's it? I had someone in mind, but I've totally forgotten. So let's give it to Dominic.
Okay. I'd also like to apologize for the fact that I'm doing this on my laptop instead of my actual camera, because I'm terrible.
It looks great.
I'm not very good at.
Are you going to apologize for this being late as well, Laurence? Because you had to pack up.
I set everything up. Everything was working. I walked out the room. I went and put. I'm mending I love mending things.
No, not today. Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be out on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I'm really sorry about being late because I'm a useless person. But I had a few dramas.
Yeah, your life is one big job. I don't know how you cope.
Right. Who would we?
I don't think we have any questions. I think we've covered all the time.
I like you have to get through some of the nastier ones to get. And the thing about nastiness online as well, I suppose. I a few years ago, if someone was mean to me online, I'd be like, I'd be hurt. Now I just look at it. That's quite funny.
I just block them. I get satisfaction from blocking them.
Are you prepared to follow Calvin, Elizabeth Del Bosque? Are you prepared to follow Father Calvin to the US if things get much worse in the UK? Would you be more valuable to reform here than in jail there? Well, all I do know about the US-UK relationship is the extradition deal only works in one direction. That's
what from Britain to the US.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think Father Calvin made the best decision in the world to go and be in America. And you can see it in his life and the way he speaks, even when he had that sort of quite rubbish time at the beginning of the year. Overwhelmingly, it's been a much, much better thing for you than big.
Graham gets arrested this morning, and I can tweet, actually, Graham Linehan is right. If you see a male and a female on his space, you should make a big fuss, call the police, and or punch them in the balls. Absolutely. But to say that back home, that's literally an arrestable offense now.
Well, but he said, I'm going to say it. And come try and arrest me.
They do. They keep trying.
Well, do. By all means do, Mr. Policeman. By all means do.
Or the policewoman.
Or police them. Actually, most of them you could hop faster than those fat little chunky run. Sorry to be fat shaming the.
No. I think fat shaming is a good thing in the general.
Yeah, I do too.
More stigmas in culture, because these things can't be policed, they can't be regulated. We used to regulate them amongst each other in culture, and now we've gone past that and say, it's body shaming, and in fact, let's have fat people on billboards. Let's not have fat people on billboards. Let's get back to saying to be fat is not necessarily a good thing, because it's not a healthy thing, and we want people to be healthy and live good, healthy lives, and that's there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, this is one for you. We kind of done it. Is AI the new Tower of Babel with man trying to play God, David Kent?
Yes. It is dangerous, and we need to make sure we are involved in it, Christians are involved in it, because otherwise if we leave it to the liberals, all hell could break loose. It won't be good. Because it's going to happen.
What about Grace Leeds? When the Bible warns of an image of the beast, could AI be what we're seeing now?
Yeah, but I mean, this is another one of those things that everyone reads everything into. Everything's everything's the mark of the beast, right? From the COVID jab to whatever. Like, we just have to we won't know, and we don't know, so we can't keep speculating and think everything that we dislike is the mark of the beast. We just have to do our best, really.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as we say, are we in the end times now? It must be in the end times now. And literally everyone's been saying that throughout the last 2,000 years. We may be in the end times, we may not be in the end times, but he says it will come like a thief in the night. We don't know what it will happen. So we just have to live as if it is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Well, it's time for you to close out, dude.
Okay.
And I'm sorry again for being useless when I was in Greece. But also,
I forgive you. I forgive you. I'm sure the viewers do too.
My pinky's this thing has gone numb, which is not good, because the last time that went numb, I had to have a big operation on my neck. So that didn't help. So yeah. Anyway,
you were doing extreme water sports again. I saw. Never mind. The first thing you do when you get on holiday is do something really extreme and let me try and break my body for the rest of the trip. Just wind yourself into these things. Right?
I spend a lot. It's not like I don't spend enough time with the mythos.
Okay. Let us pray. O God, who declarest thy almighty power most chiefly in showing mercy and pity, mercifully grant unto us such a measure of thy grace, that we, running the way of thy commandments, may obtain thy gracious promises, and be made partakers of thy heavenly treasure, through Jesus Christ, thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee, in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And you don't need to know who he is. People don't know who he is, but please, if you could spare a prayer for Timothy and his health, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Will do. And be hopeful, people. Things are going to be good. I have I'm good. One of the very few qualities I have in life is I can see things coming, and it's one of my very few qualities. I saw all of this coming, and I know how it ends, and it ends well. So stick to yourself. Know that you are the power. You are literally the power. It's all with you. And if you use it well, and you use it wisely, and you don't, not like me, who just shouts my mouth off. But if you're smart and you're clever, we'll win, and we'll win a life that we want to live back, rather than a life that we stand and stare at and just stare.
You'll win so much that you'll be tired of winning.
Exactly. I'm into that. Love you, bro.
You too, brother. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Bye.